Anthony, KE7OSN, chair of the board. And assuming Zoom doesn't bounce stuff around too bad, let's see if I can go around the room here. So next up, I have Bill.
Howdy, Bill, KE7ZKH.
And Olin.
Hello, this is Olin, WA7YXY.
Don and Betsy.
On W7DMR.
And Betsy, K7BTS.
Matt.
Matt, KF7DVM. Good evening.
Tyler.
Tyler, WB7DD in Corvallis.
Ted.
I'm Ted, it's W7RTM in the wild side of Philomath.
Drew.
Drew Terrell from the Scenic Hills of Albany, W3HES.
Mike.
Mike, W7RIS, about 10 miles north of Corvallis in the Soap Creek Valley. Yeah, great.
Pittsburgh, Paul.
Paul and Zero VLR. I seem to be the only DX. 5x9 over here.
All right, West Coast, Paul.
Paul Branchfield, KJ7BFQ between Roseburg and Winston. I'm the southern contingent.
Steve.
Steve, KW7F in cloudy northwest Corvallis.
Brett.
Yeah, hi, this is Kilo Golf 7 Golf Delta Bravo. I'm Brett from Salem. First time on your group here, and I'm going to talk about mesh tonight and share what we've done in the last 2 years in our area.
Yeah, welcome. It's good to have all you here. Larry.
This is Larry, AF7NU in Corvallis.
Frank.
Yep, Frank, KJ70Z from Salem, another Salem mesh person.
And Dan.
Hi, Dan Bathurst, WA7ABU, and I just wanted to listen in tonight and see what all was discussed. Very active with mesh here in Salem.
And finally on the list, I have Declan.
Guys, I'm from the Linn County Lebanon Aries group, and I'm also the founder of the LBCC Image Radio Club, and I'm also with OSU Radio Club. I do a whole bunch, and I've done a whole bunch of work with Brett and Frank with the mesh stuff. So excited to listen in.
All right, welcome. We'll have to bug you about bugging the OSU club about replacing that 716 as one of these days. It was long in the tooth when I was there, and that was a long time ago. All right, treasurer or secretary's report. Ted. You're muted, Ted.
Ted, you're still muted.
Yeah, I gotta find the right button. I can hear me. I don't know what your guys' problem is. So I sent the minutes out Sunday, and if you reviewed them, you've already accepted them. So we're good, right?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. All right. And then Andy has some standing appointments that happen to be about this time each month for a while. So he did send the treasurer's report. So in checking, we have $2,233.70. Savings is $1,480.98. Nothing in Square. We have a cash balance of $46.46 for a total club assets of $3,830.33. And we haven't spent any money in a while. Believe our insurance renewal was just recently or coming up soon.
Yeah, we got the insurance renewal papers already. It's out there on the Google Docs.
Yep. We're trustees report. Hasn't been a whole lot of change on the repeater network recently. I believe everybody's getting geared up to get back on mountaintops, and the last I saw from Chris was a visit to one of the sites where that had been burnt down in one of the fires.
Not
and-
Hagen.
Yep, and they had just gotten the new building. Was 4 walls and a roof up on the site, so I think they're starting to get geared up to actually start getting hardware back in. So some of those sites may get replaced by the end of the summer before they get snowed in again. And as always, check WSMPRA.com for an up-to-date listing. Old business and past events. So since the last time we had a meeting, a handful of us went out to Walton Lake and played the 7QP. The food was much more separate
Primitive.
than yeah, I think it was a pretty good time to get out of the house and up in the woods again. And I think Bill, you were submitting the score. What was the final tally? Do you have that handy?
Oh, let me look that up a minute. I'll get back to you.
Well,
We had
Bill
to
is-
do some repairs too.
While Bill
There was
is
some
looking-
vandalism up there.
I actually participated in the 7QP. I did not do very well, believe me. I made like 12 contacts. Okay. So there you go. I tried.
Were,
beat
ba-
me tower
were
this-
band conditions that bad there, or was it just because of effort?
I'm looking at my log here, Mike. I tried 1451 through 1700 on 5-1, and then another contact on 5-2, all on 20. Again, on a random broken leg wire kind of antenna situation. I didn't have anything real good. Last year, I had the club tower in a beam, and I think I did about 50 contacts in that regard. So
sounds
Yeah,
more normal.
okay. Our claimed score was 52,808.
that's decent.
Well, it's
we've
better
had-
than nothing.
Yeah, I want to say I think the first year we were out of Walton, we were like 180,000 or something, 100 and something thousand.
Sounds about right. Yeah, I think it was probably about 108,000.
I think from my experience doing doing voice, there was the people that I could talk to very well, and but you could talk to them very quickly and then be sitting there waiting for an hour and a half before somebody new came on. And then you have somebody over there in the camper that has the amp and the big G5 RV that was busted out a few more, but I think my experience was it seemed like there just weren't as many people playing as we've seen in the past. Your thoughts, Mike?
There was only 3 bands that we really had to play on, and that was 20, 40, and 80. And we know 80 is only good in the morning and at night. I guess I was really surprised that 80 was very receptive for the contest in the morning. Usually it's a bunch of guys just out there doing just rag chews and stuff. But I knocked down a ton of guys in the morning, a bunch of them in the evening, and then went around to the other bands and knocked out a bunch more. As far as the bands weren't really in that good a condition, it seemed like there was maybe less people out there, but things on the bands kept moving around from location to location. So I thought there was, for my experience, pretty good coverage. I could, like 20 meters all day long. I could always find stuff out there to take and talk to. Same way with 40 meters. Always I was finding, no matter what the time of the day was, there was people out there to yak with. So
Yeah, I was hitting all over the country, according to a PSK reporter, but there just wasn't that many people playing.
yeah.
I guess they were all on the phone talking to you.
Well, I mean, Ed, I think you kind of saw it. There was times where I got rolled up and it was really busy, and I am dang thankful I had a voice recorder on my rig. So when it came to calling CQ, it was a matter of poking buttons, or otherwise I would have been one very, very hoarse dude.
I had things in the morning, and by the time I got done, I was tired, but I did work for several hours, and I worked 20 and 40 and on voice, and I'm like, the other Paul, I didn't get a lot of contacts, but I don't know why I didn't talk to him, because I talked to him, just about everybody around him, I think.
Yep. Anybody else out there also worked the 7QP? Olin, we haven't heard you out there doing
I
any
worked most of the
content.
day.
Yeah, I did 7QP, and I did it first for me. I made 5 contacts on CW. Yeah. Well, don't laugh. Those are the first 5 contacts on CW since 1975.
Very good. And
Congratulations.
Ted, we got you in the log too, so that was great. In fact, there was a number of guys that I talked to over here on the west side of the Cascades that it's kind of a novel thing. Both on 80 and 40 meters, I made a fair number of good contacts here on the west side.
I worked John.
I could never hear PRA.
I saw him on the cluster. Oh.
Olin, I will second that. I saw them on the cluster on 80 meters, and I just gave it up. I'm like, I ain't doing that.
Yeah, Paul, it only would have made it, well, actually 40 meters was long there for a little while. But
40 would have been good if I had a beam.
yeah.
Yeah.
But that's a big beam.
Yeah, that's a big ass beam.
I thought it was interesting that on either 20 or 40, I only got one other Oregon contact. All the rest of them were Midwest and East Coast.
They were long, Paul. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was kind of surprised on 80 meters. 80 meters hasn't always been that good for us on the west side, but last year or the year before, I got skunked out of Washington. We didn't get hardly anything, but I think I got most of the counties out of Washington and probably well over half the counties out of Oregon here on 80 meters. So that was nice to see that working right.
Yeah, I had very few QSOs in Oregon and Washington. And I think it was just the placement of my antenna. It was way up high, shooting over their heads.
Hey, has anybody taken any, not to belabor the point on 7QP, but has anybody taken a serious look at trying to do a really nice NVIS antenna, really seriously, like 20 feet or lower on 40 and 80 for this event? Because that's where you're not gonna shoot over their heads.
Well, they kind of got to have the same kind of rig themselves.
Okay.
That's an issue.
You're right, Bill. Good point.
Yeah, Bill, your antenna was actually pointed very nicely for the West Coast. I thought that was
Yeah, but it was way up high.
way up
So-
high.
So 80 meters being 80 meters.
Yep.
You know.
Yep, wouldn't have been there.
But I couldn't get anybody on 40 or 20. You know, it just,
Huh.
I think I got 2 in Washington, you know, but very few in California. But boy, was I hitting people back east. I was getting all over the place.
Good.
Those that showed up to play.
Oh, ouch. Oh,
I'm talking JS8 call,
okay.
ESK 31, you know. I was hunting for the sweet 8 points per QSO.
Okay.
All right. Any other activity from the last month?
Well, I have a little news that probably doesn't affect many people, but the producer of my hex beam, which was an SB7IDX, Valdi Valdemar, died of COVID in about April 4th, I think.
Whoa.
Oh, boy.
Wow.
Don and I and some others just recently got the K7 CVO repeater on Mary's Peak working again. Had a little trip up to the top.
How was the snow up there?
It was all gone, except I saw 1 or 2 little tiny chunks hidden way up on the north side of the embankments lower down, but didn't see any on the summit at all.
Don, we're trying to say something. You're muted.
There we go. Betsy was saying, yeah, we can see all the way from Mount Rainier down. It's a beautiful day.
Yeah, that was a beautiful view. I think you guys posted that. That was a beautiful picture.
Yeah, thank you.
And the learning on the antenna is don't use either hardline or coax that has a foam core in it. That stuff sucks up water like a sponge.
Okay.
And the,
Here's an. Go ahead, Betsy.
Yeah, and the ice can bring down the coax hardline to rub on the very angular corners of the tower.
Yeah, there was a piece of coax that went from the main hard line to make a drip loop for the antenna. It went up over a piece of angle iron, down, and then back up to the antenna. And they had zip tied it to the leg of the tower, which is just big angle iron. Well, you get a bunch of ice on that, and the zip ties all just slid downward, right? And coax too, and it all dragged down until the piece of metal at the top cut a hole in the shield in the plastic cover of the coax.
I figured melting ice got in there and got sucked up.
I have 4 words for you, Don and Betsy. Nature is a mother.
Yeah.
So here's a bit of information that I keep running into a number of guys that have been having similar problems this winter, where as 5G has been coming online, rather than using hard line to take and feed a lot of those antennas, more of the transmitter receivers have been located into the hard line. In fact, even on the G4 stuff. And so on the open market, there's been a huge glut of hardline out there for amateurs to be able to pick up. But I keep running into guys having problems with water getting in there. And I know that there's certain things you have to do to be able to treat it and seal it, keep water out. But also on a tower, it's not very flexible when you want to lower the tower. So the trend is these days is using LMR 600. LMR 600 has a relatively equivalent, if not better, statistics than the hardline does. So more guys I see just paying the big bucks and buying LMR 400 because then they don't have to worry about draining the water out of the hardline.
Well, this tower has really nice 1-inch hard line from the shack up to the top of the tower, and that's never really been a problem because that's just that's really a real air core hard line. But then there's a jumper from that to the antenna to make a drip loop, and so you can take it off and put it on without having to mess with the hard line. And it's always the jumper we have trouble with.
Gotcha. Okay. Anthony?
All right. So upcoming events and new business. If you haven't been following, CPAC, as we know it, is canceled for this year. However, they are going online, and so there is so they're going to have can't find registration, but they do have registration for the for CPAC is required for the access to the seminars, but it is free. And there are some donations that you can do to get various swag levels in return. So check that out. The Pacific Northwest DX Convention in August is also online, so that should be easy to attend. And then the big event we've all been kind of keep an eye out for, Field Day. Bill, any updates on options for Field Day?
Not since last month. Basically, same rules as last year. Everybody can act individually, and then you can also report your score as with the club affiliation to get an aggregate score for the club. The only significant changes in the rules from last year are that they are limiting the power out on Class Ds to 150 watts. Again, last year, they allowed Class Ds to score as any other station. But you get people with big old amplifiers in their home station, and that kind of puts the people in the field at a disadvantage. So this year, they're limiting Class Ds to 150 watts. Put them on a more even keel. Anybody going to be going anywhere for Field Day? My tentative plan is to go out into the Alvord Desert and set up out there.
I'm going to be in Ohio with a friend, a ham friend of mine who's got a lot of equipment but needs a little bit of Elmering, and he makes a great margarita. So I'll be out there. I'll be operating under my own call sign and operating from Ohio.
Will you be operating sober?
No, not at all. Not at all. I'll be with at least Whiskey 1 November Echo, at least, if not Margarita Mobile. So so I'm going to bring my 7100 and I'm going to be hooking up to his JK5 band antenna and hopefully pointing west and trying that out. I've never had a beam of my own, so I'm going to be stealing it from him.
Bill, you also have the Steens Mountains right behind you, that location.
Well, I'm going to be way out there and to the south. I'll be out, I'm planning on being out at Willow Creek Hot Springs, which is, what, 5 miles from Nevada? Halfway between Fields and US 95.
Yep, okay, gotcha.
Yeah, and hopefully I'll set up an antenna that points east and west and another one that points north-south and put that
Okay.
coax switch to use.
Yeah, so one of the things I guess I'm hearing is that there's no chance that we're going to be doing a club event at the Willamette Park this year.
It's just too late to get anywhere with the city, even if they were to say, hey, you can do it. I mean, you know, hey, we're going to cease and desist with the COVID-19 precautions tomorrow. That just takes, you know, you got to run it through the city manager, and yeah, you need a couple, 3 months advance filling out the paperwork in order to get the permit.
Got the picture.
Yeah, so I mean, if anybody had a really great field location that's relatively close that we could go out to on short notice, I'm sure some of us would be happy to do that.
Gotcha.
Our local
Maybe we can all go
club-
camp out at Mike's.
Our local
Plug
club-
into his antenna field.
Our local club in Douglas County is going to be meeting in Winston, where there's a church that has a pretty good sized field, and we can probably get 5 or 6 stations on there. We're going to try to set up a station on each band so people can rotate around different stations to work different bands.
Cool.
Yep, I haven't made up my mind yet, but I'm got stuff ready to go do something. Whatever that ends up being, we'll see.
Hey, we could go camp out at Anthony's. You got plenty of fields out there.
It's wide open. I don't have any trees to hang anything, so you have to bring your own towers.
Yeah.
That you might have to. They'll be irrigating by then, so there might be a big, downpour every about every 30 seconds for most of the day.
Anthony, you have lots of trees, just not very tall ones.
Yeah, and actually, the one good one, or the one good one I had been eyeing to string from one end of the property to the other end of the property and do a, because I had a corner to corner distance that was about 1,800 feet. That I was kind of drooling over some obscenely large antenna farms with some wire up there. But then that one tree had to come down this past summer. So now I've got a really tall tree on one corner of the property that also needs to come down. But yeah, it's not useful. So with that, any more upcoming events or new business for the good of the order?
I'll just mention one thing. Keep an eye on your favorite vendors. They are doing like virtual Dayton sales. I know Gigaparts and DX Engineering have posted some, not a lot, but some sales on items. So if you're looking for something, it is the Dayton, the 4 days of May right around now. So just keep it in mind.
I was actually looking at HRO yesterday morning because I've been wanting to pick up a remote tuner, and they ended up last time I was looking, they didn't have the LDGs and available, but they did sell it to me. It is back ordered, but they did sell it to me. So I also got other candy from the candy store, and that'll show up tomorrow. Any fun radio achievements, fun stuff good contacts.
We did
Right.
our VE test last week on Wednesday night, and I uploaded to ARRL, and by Friday, our people had their licenses. So the new upload system with ARRL, at least this month, worked well.
I installed a new vertical antenna today and got it hooked up to one of my transceivers. It's a 21 footer. So looking forward to when the higher frequencies cook in later on in the cycle.
So in Newham news, we've had a flood. I have to believe that there's way more, but we've had 8 new hams checked into our local repeater, and there's plenty of repeaters to check into, plenty of clubs around here in Pittsburgh, and just in our repeater set alone, we have a 2 meter and 440 pair on a Monday night. And we've had like anywhere from 7 to 10 new check-ins. And so this is without actually doing anything. We've not reached out. We've just held exams and just mentioned, oh, by the way, you know, listen on the frequencies, etc. Try to encourage those folks and help them along. They get licensed, and some of them don't know what to do next. So I've done my part and gone and visited a couple of these folks and helped them, you know, make sure they know what to do next.
Yep, and that's
Hey, guys,
especially
if I don't know how long you want to talk tonight, I can still stay here, but I probably have at least half an hour worth of material to present, plus questions and answers. So I don't want to shortchange you on what's happening with the mesh.
Yeah, and
Yep.
so I think I was gonna kind of maybe move things along here so we can get over to Brett's presentation.
Yep.
I
Yeah,
don't like
it's-
to fall asleep, you know. But I was going to say one exciting thing that I did for, you know, on the mesh for the first time, we made a 36 mile full duplex contact on 5.8 gigahertz using voice over internet from summit to summit up in Portland during the microwave contest
Wow.
at a cost of less than $150 per person. Okay. No home build equipment, and we're using mesh equipment. So that's, I think, the first time. So, you know, you can get 5 grid squares. You can get VUCC, you contester guys. You might even like it from that standpoint. I'm going to tell you all kinds of fun stuff, but that was the first time used in a contest, Arden Mesh Network.
So Anthony, are you about finished done?
yeah, so that is the business meeting. So yeah, Brett, whenever you want to take over the presentation, go for it.